All right, so today again we're continuing on with trigonometry, where we're again looking at non-right angle triangles. So today, or I guess I'll go back to our first day where we did the sine law, and we also did the cosine law, but to find a side. And today what we're going to do is the cosine law to find an angle, and we're also going to look at some word problems involving the sine and the cosine law. Now, the cosine law, again, this is a formula. It is the same formula that we used the other day, but completely looks different because it's been rearranged to solve for an angle. All right, now, again, we have this formula is solving for angle A, where you have to know the three sides. And again, that's something I talked about with the cosine law last time out, is that essentially the sine law and the sine law is used for non-right angle triangles, but there's only two situations where you got to use the cosine law. And yesterday, or I guess last class, to find the side using the cosine law is when you have what's called SAS, side angle side, where you have a side, then you know this angle, then a side. But today is the second scenario when you would use the cosine law for right angle triangles. And that is just simply when you have what's called SSS, side, 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 where you know all three sides of the triangle. The sine law can't be used then, and that's, again, when you would use the cosine law. Now, just a little recap of these little A's, B's, and C's when we're looking at the side lengths. Again, it matters which side's which. And so if you have an angle A, side A is across from it. Same thing with angle B. Side B is across from it, and obviously the same thing with angle C. So the sides for the sine law and the cosine law are labeled the same. All right, so on that note, we get to example one here, where I'm going to find the missing angle. So we're looking for, I guess, angle X here. All right, so again, I like to write down my givens. But again, when you're on a test and you're looking at non-right angle triangles, I would know to use the cosine law here because side, side, side. I got three sides. All right, so but with any triangle, when I'm writing down my givens, I have three angles and I have three sides. All right, now it looks like in this example, when we're finding the missing angle, we're looking for angle B here. All right, now in terms of the sides, again, something I just went through, side A would be across from angle A. So 10 is side A. 14 would be side B, and side C would be 22. All right, now this is again something that I went through last class with the cosine law, and it applies here again, is that I have this formula, but it is solving for cosine angle A. In this situation, I'm looking for angle B. So again, I'm going to rewrite this formula, but because I'm finding angle B, I'm going to switch the A's and B's in my formula. That way I don't have to plug into the formula and rearrange it. Well, in this case, it wouldn't even matter. I couldn't even do that because there is no cosine angle B in there. All right, so again, to rewrite this formula, to find angle B, I'm going to switch A's and B's. So instead of cosine angle A, I'm going to have cosine angle B. All right, B squared, again, I'm switching A's and B's. So instead of a B squared, I'm going to have an A squared. C's I'm not doing nothing with, so it's going to stay the same. Then the last part there says minus A squared. So again, I'm switching A's and B's, so it's going to minus B squared. And divided by, instead of 2BC, I'm now going to have divided by 2AC, because again, I'm switching A's and B's. There we go. So now I have my formula where I'm solving for angle B. That's what I want. I've got my three sides, because of course that's when you're using the cosine law. And so now I'm going to substitute into my formula and solve for angle B. All right, so we got cosine angle B. All right, let's see here. So A squared, we have a 10 squared then. C squared, let's see, what do we got here? A 22 squared. Minus a B squared, so we're going to have a minus 14 squared. All right, all over, let's see here, 2 times A. So that's 2 times 10 times the C, which is the 22. All right, so there I've just substituted into the formula. All right, and so now just continuing to simplify things. So I'm going to do all my exponents there up on top. Well, 10 squared I know is 100. 22 squared, I can't say I know that one. Let's see here. Type in my calculator, I get 484. All right, minus 14 squared, it's going to be, let's see here, 196. All right, and then on the bottom, well, I can do that multiplying there. 2 times 10 times 22, I get 440. All right, again, just simplifying things. Haven't doing anything crazy yet. All right, so I have the cosine of angle B. Let's see, well, down the bottom, it's 440. I know that. So on the top, I do my adding and subtracting there. And let's see, 100 plus that minus this. I end up with 388. All right, now we're almost there. Again, things are getting simpler. That's always the first indicator that you're going the right way in math. Things get uglier, and now you're probably going the wrong way. So now where I'm at here is cosine of angle B. I take my 388 divided by 440. I can make that a decimal. And I've got 0.88. All right, now this is something we've had many times, both with the sine law and in our last unit, unit 5, just simple trigonometry with right angles, triangles. I have the ratio, the cos ratio. I want the angle. So again, as long as your calculator's in degree mode, you're going to get the right answer as long as you get cos inverse 0.88. And we get our angle, which is 28.14 degrees. And there we go. So again, I have 3 sides. That allows me to find an angle. Rewriting my equation, substituting in, and again, of course, when you have the ratio, using the cos inverse, because we're using the cos law here, cosine law, and then we find our angle. All right, let's try one more of those. Again, nothing too crazy here. I don't think anyways. All right, so example 2. Again, we're going to be finding an angle because if we're using this cosine law, we're going to have all 3 sides here. So example 2. Again, find the missing angle. All right, so we'll draw my triangle in here where I've got, let's see here, point A. So yeah, there we go, B, C, and I'm going to put an X here because that's the angle we're going to be looking for. 5, a 9, and an 8 right there. All right. So there we go. So there's our triangle. All right, and again, I like writing down my givens here. Try a different color. Let's see here. All right, so I got my 3 angles and 3 sides to my triangle. All right, so again, with this question, we're finding angles. Well, that's all we're doing this lesson is finding angles using the cosine law. Again, X is our angle C, so that's what we're looking for there is angle C. Again, our sides, well, across from that angle. It's a funny looking triangle, but that side C there, and let's see, across from angle A, that's 9, and across from angle B would be side B. And again, you can see we got 3 sides here. And so now, well, that's why I would be using this cosine law. But now again, I'm going to rewrite this formula because look at this. I'm looking for angle C this time. So I'm going to take my formula, and so now I'm going to switch A's and C's to write my formula. All right, so again, instead of cosine angle A, I'm going to write cosine angle C because that's what I'm looking for. All right, B's, I'm not switching them at all, so that's a B squared there. Now, again, I'm switching A's and C's. So instead of plus C squared, I'm going to have plus A squared. And instead of minus A squared, I'm going to have minus C squared. And again, down at the bottom, I'm switching A's and C's. So instead of divided by 2BC, I'm going to have it divided by 2BA. So there we go. So now I've switched my formula with proper letters, A and C, because I'm looking for angle C. All right, but now I'm just going to do what I did before. I'm going to substitute in my values. All right, so I've got cosine angle C is equal to, let's see here, B squared, so I got a 5 squared, plus an A squared, so that's 9, minus C squared, which is 8, so I have a minus 8 squared there. All right, and then I divide it by 2BA, so 2 times B, which is a 5, times an A, which is a 9. All right. All right, so there's my substitution. Well, now I'm just on to simplifying it. And then, of course, at the end, with the cosine, this part of this cosine law, I'm always going to have cos inverse at the end. All right, so here we go. So I have cos angle C, 5 squared I know is 25. 9 squared I know is 81. And 8 squared, which I'm subtracting here, is a minus 64. All right, no calculator there. Down the bottom, a little mental math. 2 times 5 is 10. 10 times 9 is 90 down the bottom. All right, again, I'm going to do simplify up to up. So I have cos angle C. Let's see, put those together. I'm going to use a little calculator there. So let's see here. We get 42. And I still have 90 as my denominator. All right, almost there. Last 2 steps. I'm going to, figure out that as a decimal. So I have cos angle C, let me see, 42 divided by 90. That's going to be 0.4 something. Let's see here, we get 0.47. It wasn't quite half. All right, and again, like I said before, we have the cos ratio. We want the angle. So I'm going to use cos inverse. And I get my angle to be 61.97 degrees. And there we go. So that is the cosine law to solve for an angle. And again, to solve for a side, you're going to look for side, angle, side. And for this cosine part of the cosine law, when you're finding an angle, you have all 3 sides. Those 2 scenarios are the only times that you cannot use the sine law to solve a non-right angle triangle. All right, so that's it for this lesson today. Now,